Welcome to today's scary story session. These stories are not for the faint of heart, so be prepared to be scared out of your wits. If you enjoy being scared and want to hear more stories like these, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a scary story session. Let's get started. The church basement had always been a place of unspoken dread, and I, Sarah, couldn't resist the pull of its mystery any longer. It was a scorching summer afternoon, and the church was nearly empty as the congregation gathered for a service. Seizing the opportunity, I slipped away, my heart thudding with a mixture of fear and curiosity. I descended the creaking stairs that led to the enigmatic basement below. As I reached the bottom, a shiver shot down my spine, and I paused, my flashlight trembling in my hand. The basement was a labyrinth of forgotten relics, ancient pews, tattered hymnals, and disused candle stands. The air was thick with the musty scent of decay, and my flashlight's feeble beams seemed to only deepen the sinister shadows. I ventured deeper into the subterranean maze, my footsteps echoing eerily in the silence. And then, amidst the dimness, I stumbled upon a peculiar door, hidden in a forsaken corner. The wood was cracked and ancient, and the doorknob felt icy as I turned it, revealing a room that would forever haunt my nightmares. The room was a dark, clandestine library, the walls adorned with floor-to-ceiling shelves. They were packed with dusty, archaic books, their pages yellowed and brittle. But it wasn't the age of these volumes that sent shivers through my spine, it was the strange, indecipherable languages in which they were penned. Leather-bound covers bore enigmatic symbols and intricate runes that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As I cautiously explored the room, my flashlight began to flicker, casting grotesque, elongated shadows that danced malevolently. The air grew frigid, and I sensed an unnatural presence, a malevolent sentience that seemed to survey my every move. Then, as if responding to an otherworldly command, the ancient books on the shelves began to move, their pages flipping open and closed with sinister intent. An eerie chorus of whispers filled the room, unintelligible incantations that felt like nails on a chalkboard. The unholy choir of voices intensified, resonating with a haunting cadence that made my skin crawl. Terror overwhelmed me, and I backed away, my heart racing as the room seemed to pulse and throb, as though it was alive. The very walls appeared to breathe, and I could feel unseen eyes drilling into my soul. In an act of sheer panic, I turned to flee, darting up the stairs, the maddening chants and whispers pursuing me like a relentless specter. I burst back into the main church hall, my breath coming in frantic gasps, only to find the congregation deeply engrossed in prayer, their voices rising in fervent devotion. No one had missed me, and I realized that the enigmas of the basement were intended to remain concealed. The church, with its cryptic stones and sacred halls, safeguarded secrets that were never meant to be unveiled. I vowed never to venture into that basement again, but the memory of that day remains etched in my mind, an unsettling reminder that there are places in the world where the boundaries between the known and the otherworldly blur. The church basement, with its enigmatic tomes and eerie sentience, remains a chilling enigma, a testament to the darkness that can lurk beneath even the holiest of sanctuaries. The church had always been a place of solace for me, its towering spires and weathered stone walls offering a sense of peace and sanctity. But one fateful night, the sanctity I had known would be shattered in a haunting experience that would forever haunt my nightmares. I'm Daniel, and I found myself drawn to St. Agnes Church like a moth to a flame. Its history was steeped in legend and mystery, the tales of lost souls and restless spirits a testament to the darkness that could dwell within the most sacred of places. Despite the warnings of the townsfolk, I couldn't resist the pull of the church's foreboding presence. The night I decided to enter St. Agnes was cold and moonless, the darkness pressing in from all sides as I approached the ancient wooden doors. A chill ran down my spine as I pushed them open, revealing an interior that was both beautiful and eerie in its quiet solemnity. As I stepped inside, the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. Shadows danced along the pews, their movements twisted and unnatural. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the faint sound of my own footsteps echoing through the vast expanse of the nave. I wandered deeper into the church, my senses on high alert. It was then that I heard it, a soft, mournful whisper, like a breeze carrying the words of the lost. "Help me." My heart quickened, and I turned toward the sound, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. There, at the far end of the aisle, I saw her, a young woman in a tattered white gown, her hair hanging in disheveled strands. She seemed to glide across the floor, her feet making no sound, her eyes fixed on mine. "Who are you?" I stammered, my voice barely more than a whisper. But the woman remained silent, her spectral form growing more indistinct as she drew closer. The air grew colder, and I could see my own breath as it billowed out before me. And then, with a sudden, violent lurch, the pews around me began to shake, their heavy wooden frames scraping against the floor. I stumbled back, my heart pounding as I watched the pews move of their own accord, as if pushed by unseen hands. The whispering grew louder, a cacophony of voices that seemed to come from all directions. "Help us! Save us!" Panic gripped me, and I turned to flee, only to find that the massive wooden doors had swung shut, trapping me inside the church. I tugged at them in desperation, but they wouldn't budge, as if held fast by some malevolent force. The woman was before me now, her face twisted in a grotesque semblance of agony. Her eyes bore into mine, and I felt a cold, clammy hand close around my wrist, its grip like ice. I tried to pull away, but her fingers were like iron, and her touch sent a shock of terror coursing through me. And then, as if summoned by some unholy power, the church's candles burst into flames, their flickering light casting eerie, dancing shadows on the walls. The pews continued to shudder, their movements growing more violent with each passing moment. As I struggled to free myself from the woman's grasp, the very ground beneath me seemed to shift, tilting and buckling as if the church itself were in the throes of some terrible transformation. I could hear the voices now, not just whispers, but agonized screams that seemed to echo from the very bowels of the earth. And then, with a deafening crash, the altar at the front of the church collapsed, sending a cloud of dust and debris billowing into the air. Through the choking haze, I saw figures emerging, more lost souls, their forms twisted and tormented. With a final, desperate surge of strength, I wrenched myself free from the woman's grasp and stumbled toward the shattered doors. They swung open with a deafening groan, and I burst out into the night, gasping for breath. Behind me, the church seemed to shudder and groan, its walls trembling as if in agony. The voices grew louder, a chorus of torment that followed me as I fled into the darkness. I never returned to St. Agnes Church, but the memory of that night haunts me still. The church, once a place of solace, had become a gateway to a nightmare realm, a testament to the darkness that can lurk even within the most sacred of spaces. And as I lay in my bed, drenched in sweat and trembling, I knew that I would never be the same again.